think I was trying really hard to see who you may have left out. And I think the only demographic or the only one was our colleagues. I don't know if we acknowledged our colleagues. So equally, let me acknowledge our colleagues that have made time to be here this afternoon. And then I see my brother Simon from UNAM is also here, you acknowledged. So it gives us great pleasure to welcome each and every one of you to this press conference convened to brief all of our key stakeholders, our aspiring as well as our current students, and the Namibian public at large on the subsidized tertiary education funding model. I need to share a funny story quickly. I had to rush home earlier today as I tried to refuse to wear a suit on a Friday. And we only were told about this press conference at fairly short notice. And so I am wearing a suit for my minister this afternoon. Our minister will shortly deliver the key address and provide clarity on this important policy matter. I also wish to equally extend a sincere welcome to the chancellors, as well as the vice-chancellors of our higher education institutions. As mentioned, the heads of key stakeholder institutions, our ministry's management and staff, and the various members of the media, whose role in ensuring accurate and timely dissemination of information remains indispensable and valued. This afternoon's engagement follows the press conference held on the 8th of December of last year, where the Honourable Minister announced the subsidized tertiary education framework, which in turn, as also mentioned by our Director of Proceedings, gave effect to the historic announcement made by Her Excellency, our President of the Republic of Namibia, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, on government's commitment to progressively implement 100% subsidized tertiary education at public institutions, commencing in the 2026 academic year. That announcement marked a defining moment in our nation's journey towards equitable access to education. Today's briefing is therefore intended to provide clear information, to address misconceptions where they may exist, and reaffirm the government's resolve to ensure that no deserving Namibian is left behind due to a lack of means and resources in accessing education opportunities. Now, without preempting my Honourable Minister's address, allow me to highlight that this engagement underscores our shared responsibility as government, institutions of higher learning, key stakeholders, and our respected media partners in working in unison and in the best interest of our students and the nation at large. Allow me to thank each and every one of you for availing yourselves at short notice, and I trust that this session will both be informative and constructive, and indeed forward-looking. May I now ask, if I may do your job, Director of Proceedings, that we all rise and welcome the Honourable Minister, Dr. Sanet Steenkamp, to give the key address. Thank you.
Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I need to greet everyone. Thank you for being here and thank you for making the time. And I do apologize that we did not start on the time that we promised to start. That's the first thing I want to do. And then I really wish to recognize the presence of everyone in this room. And the media, we are grateful that you are here. Fellow Namibians, the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture wishes to take this opportunity to once again inform the Namibian public on the implementation of the subsidized tertiary education following the numerous inquiries received through the media and other platforms. This intervention is in direct response, as was said by the Deputy Minister, to the call by Her Excellency, our President, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, who urged all of us as Namibians to support but also safeguard access to education as a cornerstone for national development, social justice, and youth empowerment. government's commitment and the funding assurance. I wish to assure the nation that subsidized tertiary education will continue as planned. Government has secured the funding for 2026 academic year, and eligible students who meet the requirements at public or private tertiary institutions will be subsidized for their registration and tuition fees for their primary qualification. This reform is being implemented through a phased approach, recognizing the complexity of the education ecosystem and the need to ensure stability, quality, but also fairness. Engagements with institutions and stakeholders is a topic that I wish to also briefly make reference to. Over the past weeks, the Ministry have engaged extensively with key stakeholders and prominent role players to ensure a smooth and inclusive implementation. These engagements included regulatory authorities as well as training institutions. Today, the Ministry concluded consultations with private tertiary institutions through their representative bodies, Association of Private Higher Education Institutions in Namibia, and Association of Technical Vocational Education Training Institutions in Namibia. And these engagements have been critical in aligning the expectations and implementation modalities across the sector. We further acknowledge, in terms of the clarification on minimum standards and funding requirements, that much more need to be said in this regard. And we do recognize that many of the public queries relate to the minimum standards for higher education institutions, which is a policy instrument aimed at ensuring that every Namibian student, I beg your pardon, receives quality, credible, and relevant education. The minimum standards for higher education is a long-term quality assurance framework intended to strengthen academic standards, institutional credibility, and graduate outcomes across the sector. The benefits include, for one, improved quality, the comparability of qualifications, and accountability across institutions. However, as approved, these standards will be implemented in the phased approach over a period of 3 years. The Ministry further wishes to clarify that for the year 2026 academic year, let me redo that with your permission. The Ministry further wishes to clarify that for the 2026 academic year, the Namibia Student Financial Assistance Fund requirements will remain the basis for the determining funding eligibility. That is in context of the approved subsidized funding model. And these requirements, as you may be all well aware, are well established and focus on supporting Namibian students pursuing their primary qualification at accredited TVET and higher education institutions. For a smooth transition and to ensure that no eligible student is disadvantaged, subsidized tertiary education in 2026 will be implemented through the existing NSFAF funding requirement with an expanded scope of coverage, while tertiary institutions will continue to apply the current admission criteria. I hope that, ladies and gentlemen, is very clear. Being admitted, can we do better on that? Now, having said that, I also wish to state the following. Being admitted into a tertiary institution does not automatically guarantee funding, but funding decisions will be guided by the existing transparent requirements. I wish for a moment to focus on the issue of equity and inclusivity. The Ministry remains cognizant of the historic challenges and educational barriers faced by historically marginalized communities, including the Ovatue, the Ovadimba, and the San. In this regard, the Ministry reaffirms its commitment to supporting their access to tertiary education, including the application of carefully considered targeted deviations from administrative support measures are implemented to enable them to reach parity with their peers. Let me now focus on non-tuition support. Government has increased the non-tuition household income threshold to 300,000, broadening access. Shall we do that again? I meant to say I must repeat the sentence. Thank you. Government has increased the non-tuition household income threshold to 300,000, broadening access to students from low and middle income households, and reinforcing government's commitment to inclusivity and equity. There is never an intentional attempt to exclude anybody. As emphasized by Her Excellency the President, subsidized tertiary education is a national project that requires cooperation, close coordination and collaboration, but also understanding and the fact that we must know it's a shared responsibility. While significant progress has been made, we do admit that there are complex issues that still will have to be addressed progressively as the implementation continues. I therefore call upon all public and private tertiary institutions, all students, trainees and parents, all education stakeholders and the broader Namibian public to work with government in good faith. Work with us in good faith as we implement this transformative reform in a manner that protects quality, but also promote access and safeguards the sustainability of our education system. I wish to reassure you that the Ministry remains committed to transparent communication and will continue to engage stakeholders as we move forward. I thank you.
Yes, another round of applause for our Honourable Minister. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, for that very concise, but at the same time, very informative statement to all our citizens. And just to perhaps emphasize the fact that we have been consulting, and what we are sharing is a result or is the outcome of our consultations. As the Minister has indicated, all the key stakeholders in terms of the training institutions have been consulted. We continue to consult for the purpose to refine this very national program. That is the subsidized tertiary education funding. As I was seated there, ED, you're the one who likes abbreviation very much. I said, probably we call it STEF, subsidized tertiary education funding. If you want to call it a model, then it's you add that M there. Just to perhaps bring you in the loop, the Minister underlined the fact that the institutions, that is now the training institutions, would continue to use their existing admission requirements to admit learners, and that purposefully so the NSFAF funding criteria will be the basis to determine the eligibility of those students that are being admitted by the institutions to qualify for the STEF. With that, I think it will do justice that for public interest, that we share with you a summary of what those requirements are by NSFAF, so that you have a feel in terms of what is in the offing for the learners. And that is also to underline the fact that, as the Minister has indicated, that not everybody that has been admitted in any tertiary institution would have access to the subsidized tertiary funding, as that is subject to meeting those funding requirements. You would have noted that I requested Ms. Sidika, who was seated right there, to come to the high table so that she can assist to deliver in terms of sharing the summary. And I mean the summary in terms of the NSFAF funding requirement. There. Can we encourage her with a round of applause? We shall then, after that, follow with our questions and answers. And the question and answers would require from all of us as key stakeholders to provide insight in those areas that are not clear to everyone else. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Imbua. I will just quickly run through the subsidized criteria. Okay. First, we will start with who is eligible. So the subsidized includes the primary qualification. Your TVET is level 1 up to 6. So if you obtain your level 6 on TVET, until you obtain it, and then you qualify for the subsidized. And for the undergraduate, it's from level 5 to level 8. Okay, and then we also say that the subsidized will only qualify those students who wants to go study outside Namibia, but they are doing priority field of studies, and those fields should not be provided in Namibia. So that's the only time such student will qualify for the subsidized. And then the exclusion criteria. So students who are doing the same level or lower, they will be excluded from the subsidized. So you cannot do the same level, level 7 again, or lower. It should be progressive. And then funding will only be provided for one academic year. So the moment you repeat your second year, and then unfortunately when you're repeating, you need to fund that yourself. Students may only register at one institution. Just because the education is now subsidized, you cannot go to UNAM register and then go again to IUM and register. Only one institution. And it's only available for Namibian citizens. And for those who do not meet those criteria, they will be excluded. And it's only also available for if you are enrolled at an accredited institution and you are doing an accredited course. So accreditation is done by the NQA and also they're registered by the NTA. So, and for postgraduate, unfortunately for this year, postgraduate will not be funded until further notice. And then the students that will be admitted through mature age, they'll only be funded if they are doing a priority field of studies. Okay, so let's jump right into the funding criteria for the certificate level. So certificates will be funded if you are doing, if you have obtained 20 points in 5 subjects. So it's either your ordinary level or your AS level or a combination thereof. And the second entry is if you have obtained your level 4 and then you qualify for the level 5. So maybe let's remove the certificate and just say the level 5, you will qualify if you have obtained your level 4 or your 20 points in 5 subjects. So for you to qualify for a level 6, you must obtain your 22 points in ordinary or AS or a combination thereof. Or you must obtain your certificate, I'm used to the word, or your level 5 with an additional of 20 points in 5 subjects with a minimum of F in English. Or you can only have your level 5. So if you have your level 5, NQF level 5, you qualify to do your level 6 without necessarily having obtained, having required to say you must have a certain ordinary or AS level points, okay? So let's go to the level 7 to 8. So for those to qualify for subsidized, you must have 25 in 5 subjects with a minimum of E in English, or 22 points in 5 with your level 6 completed, or your 20 points in 5 with your level 5 and level 6 completed. And then you qualify to do your level 7 to level 8. Okay, for those wishing to study outside Namibia, for medicine and engineering, you must have your 35 in 5 subjects with a minimum of E in English. And this is if you are doing a priority and if that priority is not in Namibia. So for any other field for outside Namibia is 30 points in 5 with a minimum of E. Okay, and also for if you are doing medicine in Namibia, you must have 35 points. So, okay. Okay, to qualify, you must have completed that foundation, progressed. Because also if it does not say progress, unfortunately, we regard as you have not completed the foundation and not eligible. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right. For mature age and prior learning, for you to qualify for mature age, it's only for public institution, and you must have 25 years of age or older, and you must have 3 years of working experience. That's the minimum years of experience, and you must also have your results and your admission letter stating that you are admitted through this program. And for your prior learning, for those admitted under prior learning, you must be 23 years and older, and you must prove with that admission letter stating that you were admitted through recognition of prior learning at the 3 public institutions. And then we move to TVET. So for the students admitted at public vocational training centers, the moment you are admitted, you do qualify for the subsidized funding model. And those are the private vocational training. You must have 20 points in 6 subjects, or if you have already obtained your level 2, and then you do qualify for funding, onwards your level 3 and so forth. And then those wishing to study outside in Namibia, to continue with their vocational, you must have 25 points in 5 subjects with your level 3. You must have obtained your level 3 to go outside Namibia, and it falls in the same category. It's only when it's a priority, and it's only when it's not offered in Namibia. So those were the quick run on the criteria for the subsidized funding.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shidika. I see my ED here. That was just a quick feel of what the funding criteria with NSFAF is. We undertake shortly after this engagement to publish that on our various official platforms, and equally so, we shall then formally share it with all of you. All of you means all the training institutions, so that we can then speak from a point of information that is before us. We have done very well so far. I see calmness in the house. I see surety in the eyes of many and certainty. On that note, I want to, with the permission of the high table, invite us to seek for clarity, if any. It's also sometimes important, if things were clear, say, we are well informed. All right, by a show of hand and indicating your name and the institution you represent, please, you are at liberty to pose your question through the mic.
Looking for the best in local entertainment? NBC2 is your home channel. Brighten up your little one's mornings with Sunshine Club, a fun and educational kiddies show.
Stay tuned.
For the youth, Just Teens brings you the latest trends and entertainment.
Renewal of vows, future repercussions of that.
Get inspired by real-life change makers on Legend of Change. Find faith, hope, and inspiration with uplifting religious programs. Stay informed with On the Street with City Police, keeping you safe and street smart. Celebrate love, culture, and grand moments on The Wedding Show. And for the sports lovers, we've got all the action from local soccer rugby, and more. Love local music? Watagwan brings you the hottest beats. Catch it all.